Hello, hello. I hope everyone's doing well. Not gonna lie, I'm pretty freaking tired. I actually fell asleep a little bit ago. Thank gosh I set an alarm. I came back from doing my stuff during the day and was like, what if I just sleep a little? And then I ate. So yeah, I hope you're doing okay. This stream is gonna be short or shorter than normal. And normal as in like when I do these types of streams with when I teach physics and I learn physics together, but I'm only planning on doing half a section like I said previously in my streams. Unfortunately, I think one section is a bit too much for the weekdays, but if I have time on the weekends, of course I will do streams some more. Today was my free day of work. Ooh, congrats. I'm so energized. And caffeine doesn't work on me. I see. I tried to have less caffeine, so caffeine does work on me, except today I had caffeine and it's gone. It has worn off. It went. Caffeine has been used up. So I'm pretty tired. But yeah, good food coma. It actually wasn't a food coma. I'm just sleepy. But I have the link to the, what was it called? To the stuff. What's the stuff called? To the book in the description, as well as the pinned chat. For some reason, I can't pin it on Twitch. Don't know why I can't pin my own messages. It makes no sense to me. I am still having internet troubles, although I think it is more stable today. It's kind of just whatever my internet provider wants to pick, you know? Yoshio, hello! Did that work? No! Wow! The brain pudding worked! Okay, the brain pudding worked, but the hello did not. I tried fixing it, though. Did it work? It should have a different... So I fixed a little bit. Yes, I was trying to fix my points. I think I will need external help because I don't know what's going on with my points. The brain pudding worked. I think the only ones that work are brain pudding and my cool glasses. Everything else don't work for some reason. I tried fixing it. I thought it would have worked. My brain pudding, yeah! It's a redeem I have on Twitch now that I'm an affiliate. It's cool. Cool glasses. That one should work. Oh, like, hey, it does work. Heck yeah. It looks like my stuff still isn't working. But hello, hello. I can't believe my hi isn't working. I had such a cute sound and it doesn't work. Okay, well, don't use the rest of my redeems. Save your redeems for another time. So, reading and glasses work. I don't understand what's wrong. And for some reason, I can't pin anything either. I can't pin that. I don't get it. I don't know what's going on. I think I need to clear my cache on for Twitch, but we'll see. Okay, yeah. And then I also have little sub badges. They are like these nice, cool, temporary sub badges and like a little icon for people on Twitch. But yeah, I'll stop talking and we'll get into the learning because I'm excited. I haven't done a stream like this in a while. Oh no, my internet, please. But yeah, let me switch over to my stuff and hopefully everything works. If not, I will be sad. Okay, it does work. So a quick review of the previous one. So the previous one, we sort of learned like the arithmetic of vectors and how to do like algebra on them. I went too far. So the coordinate system, there are like two components to it. There's an x and y component, and some of them have, yeah, okay. And to find the magnitude, you sort of use the Pythagorean theorem right here, so that you can get the distance, which is magnitude. And if there's three, you can do like the same thing on all three of them. I know this is not a great rundown of it, but there's also polar coordinates where there is essentially another coordinate system that you can translate to x and y. Yeah, okay. Okay, right? Yes. There can be 3 dimensions where it has 3 components. So you got the AX, a Y, a Z. So that's your magnitude, and then you got your sort of like little direction indicator, which is the I, J, and K hat. And then magnitude in 3 dimension is, like I said, similar to the 2-dimension one, which is where you take all of them, square them, and add, and then take the square root of them. Algebra. So this is the part that is arithmetic and learning how to manipulate the vectors. So you can take out if something is scalar, which means it has one value, you can take that out into this sort of thing. I don't know if you can see my does this work? Can I have a laser? Let's try this. Is that more obvious? No, it's not. Never mind. Ignore that. So you have that, and then if you have a -1 as a scalar, it similarly multiplies just to like distributive properties to the scalar values. So when A and B vectors are equal to when their values are the same. There's also this, which is the sum function. It looks scary, but it's just a bunch of addition. So don't be scared by the sigma, the summation operator, the sigma operator. When you add them, this is just representing addition. So you sum up all the vectors, and then the resultant vector is something else. So you have a bunch of vectors and you just keep adding them, basically. Tug of war. We learned how to change it into polar coordinates with the cosines, and geometry with the cosine, sine, and like tangent operations. You can multiply stuff, and you can sort of move it around like they are in an equation, except instead of having like a variable attached to it, you then have a direction that's represented by the I hat, J hat, and K hat. Yeah, I think that's it. Now we move on to product of vectors. So product of vectors is actually, I think, more exciting. It's a bit different than your traditional like multiplication because you have to do something called the dot product. And let's get into this section with the product of vectors. I'm gonna drink some water. Make sure to stay hydrated. For these streams, I always have to talk so much, so my voice does get tired. So stay hydrated and yeah. So 2.4 product of vectors. Learn objectives. By the end of this section, you'll be able to explain the difference between scalar product and vector product of 2 vectors, determine the scalar product of 2 vectors, determine the vector product of 2 vectors, determine how the products of vectors are used in physics. Ooh, we get to the application part. This is, of course, always the most fun part. A vector can be multiplied by another vector, but may not be divided by another. So you can only multiply. So that's good to note. Can I make this a tad bit thinner, too? Yeah. So, vectors only can only be multiplied. Wow, I can't write. I'm just gonna put multi and then put like a little thing, like a abbreviation. It's been so long since I wrote on a tablet. I know I say like my handwriting's so bad every time, which it is, but this time it's really bad. Cannot be divided, so no division. No division. Of a vector. There's only one way. So this is where it gets different compared to like your regular arithmetic. There are two kinds of products of vectors used broadly in physics and engineering. One kind of multiplication is a scalar multiplication of two vectors. Taking a scalar product of two vectors results in a number, so a singular, something that has a singular value, a scalar, and its name, as its name indicates. Scalar products are used to define work and energy relations. For example, the work that a force vector performs on an object while causing its displacement, a vector, is defined as a scalar product of the force vector with the displacement vector. So, scalar products are used to define work and energy relations. The work that a force performs on an object while causing its displacement is defined as a scalar product. Okay, I see. Scalar product of the force vector wow, I cannot speak today. With the displacement vector. I cannot speak. Okay, so scalar products are used to define work and energy relations. That's important to note. And hello! No, don't use it. It's still broken and I don't know. I tried fixing it. It's supposed to have like a cute sound to it, but I don't understand why it doesn't work. I'm so confused. I thought I fixed it, but I guess not. But hello Connor. How have you been? Hope you've been doing okay. Should I try them all, or do we know for sure they are broken? They're broken. Yoshio had tried a few, actually. The only ones that are working are the glasses and the brain pudding. Scalar products. Define work and energy. I see how this is so important to electromechanics. Yeah! It will tell you a lot of other stuff as well. I think there will probably be a section much later on in the book that will actually describe things like electricity, as well as like the, what is that called? The I equals VR, the main point of like, what is it called? I'm like, but this something. Oh, Ohm's law. I can't believe I forgot that one. And then we can actually see how it sort of goes through a circuit. But that'll be much later on. We're going to talk about forces first. Okay, noted. I'm well. How are you? I'm doing pretty well. I'm a little bit tired. I actually fell asleep while I was setting up for stream. But let's go. Vectors aren't actually so bad. They're not so bad when you have a calculator. Because I can't do math. We forgot Ohm's law. I forgot Ohm's law. I forgot the name. The silly thing is I use it so much. All I think is just like, that's the equation that I need to use, you know? Anyways, so scalar products define work and energy. For example, the work that a force performs on an object while causing its displacement is defined as a scalar product of the force vector with the displacement vector. A quite different kind of multiplication is a vector multiplication of vectors. Taking a vector product of two vectors returns as a result a vector. So, product of two vectors returns a vector, as its name suggests. Vector products are used to define other derived vector quantities. For example, in describing rotations, a vector quantity is called torque. Is defined as a vector product of an applied force, a vector, and its distance from pivot to a force, another vector. It's important to distinguish between these two kinds of vector multiplications because the scalar product is a scalar quantity and a vector product is a vector quantity. Okay, so 3 main things that I guess I can get from this is that a vector products, so vector products used to define other derived vectors. Define other vectors. That's like the one law you should know by heart. Yeah. I forgot. I forgot the name. There should be a time where I just derive circuits. The silly thing is, I can do that, but I just forgot the name. I forgot the name. I'm tired. And I'm dumb. I'm a failed engineer for a reason. You know, I call myself that for a reason. So scalar product has a scalar quantity. Is scalar. Would people be interested in learning more about circuit analysis? Is that something that I should do? I know I go physics because, to be honest, I like I said, I kind of moved away from the more traditional engineering, electrical, ECE, computer engineering aspects. I moved more to physics because that kind of interests me more. But I could do like a circuit analysis stream one day. I think that'd be fun, as long as it's not too hard, you know, because I can't do that. I definitely need to set that up. I've been setting that up as well as well, I thought about it, but I am setting up a sort of like learn Python with me, because my Python skills are actually quite horrible. My coding skills are really bad, and I think it would be fun. There are also games that specifically teach Python, or like things that teach Python, so it won't be as dry as this. Circuit analysis is literally awful, so I'll be there. Let's keep it to resistors. No RC circuits! We gotta add the inductors, and we gotta add the polar. They have polar components too. We have to do that. We'll start with resistors. Also, it's been a while since I actually done it, so I need to relearn that as well. The scalar product of 2 vectors, the dot product. Yes, so scalar product of 2 vectors is often called the dot product. Usually, I actually just call it the dot product, so yeah. That's an important terminology to know. I don't think anyone, at least when I went to school, most people called it the dot product. So just know that they're like the same thing, that they mean the same thing. The scalar product is also called the dot product. It is also oops. Here we go. I don't stink only on Python. On any code, I suck. No worries, because I can't code on Python at all. So we will, all of us will be learning that for like the first time. I genuinely don't know how to code in Python. I was never taught it, and I never had the need to learn it because I don't really code anymore. But I think that'd be interesting. So I've been looking up stuff, and I found a video game. Well, a game that's on Steam. I guess it's not truly a video game that kind of goes through Python and stuff, and I think it would be nice to play that as well as learn Python on the side, because I think that'll be fun. defined by the equation. So the dot product has the important equation of, I'm going to choose a different color for this. And that is very, oops. Come on. 3, 2, okay. It's been so long, I kind of forgot how I made everything. As in, like, the color coding. Dot product. We have two vectors and is defined by the equation of that. Yeah, so that's important. We should remember this. So we have the two vectors, the dot product. One is scalar. We can just plug in that scalar value of a, b, and multiply that by the cosine of phi. So phi is the angle between the vectors. And the scalar product is also called the dot. Okay. And then we can define a and b as... Yes, okay, this a scalar, a scalar, b scalar? Does that make sense if I say that? Where it's only the scalar part, I think? And then, let's see. Wow, my handwriting is so bad here. And then we have phi as the angle between the vectors. Yeah! Why does Trig have to ruin everything? It does ruin anything. And hello, Kippy! Hello, I like the cat emojis. Very cute. I can't wait to give my own emojis as long as they work. Then I won't feel as bad. But I should have, like, sub badges? I think I should have sub badges available. If I put that in correctly, I know that my points have a little icon now. They're blueberry jam jars for now. That'll be like a semi-permanent. It won't be there forever, but I like them now. And I'll keep them there for a little bit. In the definition of the dot product, the angle phi does not matter. And phi can be measured from either of the two vectors to the other because the negatives and positive cosines are the same. And cosine is equal to 2 pi minus phi. The dot product is a negative number when we have 90 is less than phi, or wow, when phi is greater than 90 degrees and less than 180. I can't read. So basically, if you remember the unit circle, that makes sense. So we have 90 and 180, that's when it's negative. Okay, so good things to note, then. That cosine phi is equal to cosine phi negative. In this case, I wrote positive. I switched the two. We have cosine 2 pi, which is 360, minus phi as well. Yeah, and then is negative number negative. I'll just put a negative sign when it is 90 degrees. Greater than 90 degrees and less than or equal to 180. And it is positive, so I'll put a positive sign there. When we have 0 degrees, so it is greater than 0 and less than 90. I think for trig, for me, the hardest part of it was remembering how, what was that called? The unit circle works. I just said it. I'm really, really tired. Moreover, the dot product of two parallel vectors is equal to a and b because cosine is 0. So if there's no angle between them, I guess that's when it's parallel. And that's when you have a and b as your dot product. The dot product of two anti-parallel vectors is the negative of it. The scalar product of two orthogonal vectors vanishes to... Oh, okay, I see. So when it's parallel, when they're both going in the same direction, so when it's like this, got A and B. That's what parallel means, right? And anti-parallel is when it goes the other way. Take that one with a grain of salt. I forgot it. I forgot it. I need a fact checker, but we'll see. I'll check it at the end of the stream and then I'll fix it if it's wrong. You have anti-parallel with an A going one direction, the B going the opposite direction, but they are still parallel to each other. And that's a B. That's ugly. That's a really hard to read B. Okay, we got B here. That's when we have this, like that. Cosine, ED. E. And then when it's two orthogonal vectors, so that means they're like perpendicular to each other. So what would that be? Like this, like that. That's a straight line. Should be a straight line like that. Yeah. So we got A and B. A. B. Does this make sense? I hope I'm making sense. I don't even know if I make sense to myself. I cannot for the life of me remember the silly trig rules. I agree. The unit circles 100% is like not possible. At one point I remembered it, but I don't remember it anymore. Okay, so we have basically if A goes in, let's say on the screen, the right direction, and then B also goes the right direction. You just get A and B. They go opposite directions, but are parallel to each other. You have negative A and B, and if they are orthogonal or perpendicular to each other, so they sort of make this like right angle shape, or it is a right angle shape because it's 90 degrees, then you just get a 0. Why did I write A? I wrote A. It should be 0. My brain really does not want to work. It really is just like, nope, not today. You used it all up today. No more caffeine. It's all gone. The scalar product of a vector with itself is the square of its magnitude. Okay, so scalar product of a vector with itself is the square of its magnitude. So you have two of the exact same, then it's just squared. Which makes sense, because let's just say A and B are equal here. Then that means A equals B, so you just have A times A or B times B, and it'd be the same. So, oops. Just put A, and put the vector, and then squared. Ooh, that's... I can't write! Why is it so ugly? My hand is literally shaking! I didn't have that much caffeine today, and I'm still tired. What's wrong? Is equal to A. What happened? A. Huh? Okay. A. Just gotta be a little slower. Cosine 0 degrees equal to a squared. Okay. Yeah, yeah! I don't know anything about vectors, so to me everything is right. That's good to know. Also, love your cozy asset. It's super cute and comfy. Yeah, this asset was actually part of VTube Studio. So it's like included and it's great. So if you go to like your items, you can actually have this cozy asset. It's built in, at least for the VTube Studio that I got. Physics makes me nervous too. It's okay. I'm not nervous though. I just can't write. Scalar product of two vectors, the angle between two vectors, be an orthogonal projection, a parallel of vector. What? The orthogonal projection A of vector A onto the direction of B. I'm trying to see this. I don't understand what this figure means, actually. Not nervous. Take a rest if you need to, if your muscles are shaking. They're not shaking. I don't know why I just can't write today. Don't worry, I'm not nervous. At least not yet. I don't know what this means, though. I can't understand it. The angle between the two vectors. Okay, so we have that angle. The orthogonal projection A of that, of vector A, onto the direction of B. I don't understand. Okay, I'm gonna skip that one, and I'll go back to it to see if I get it. We have the examples, so that means it's time to use purple. Because I like purple. We have example 2.15. Scalar product for vectors shown in figure 213. Find the scalar product of A and F. I have to go all the way back up to this figure. 213. Where are you? Here. AB. C. Okay. I guess. So we just have those two values. So it basically is giving us two vectors. And I gotta scroll all the way back to... There's one thing about textbooks. I hate when they do this. It's very annoying. I wish they didn't do it. I could just take it from the example, because it just gives me the values. So we have... Oh, wait. I should have wrote it down. Okay, hold on. I can do this. A. And then F. And then I'm going to write down the magnitude and the angle between them. Wait, I can jump to it. Jump! So we have A here. It being this. We have it 10. We have the in-between as 35. Oops. Then we have like this. We have 20. Then we have this. 110. That's our angle. Excuse my not so great drawing. You both have dancing... Is that a gummy bear? A bloop. I like both. They're both cute. Okay. Where am I? Keep going. scrolling. Did I pass it? No, I didn't pass it. There we are. Okay. Now we have the stuff. Okay, so we need to find, we know that A and is that 20? 20 are what we're gonna use for this part. So we can write A dot F. So we have 10 times 20. And then we have that angle, which we don't know yet. However, because, so the way I see this is I sort of imagine where the 90-degree line would be, which would be like over here. So this is above the 90-degree line, and this is on the other side. So if you subtract the two, you can get the difference between them. So 30, 70. Oh, I can't do math. Oh, hold on. 5. And. 10 minus 3, 75. I have a brain. I should have just wrote it out, honestly. So we get 5. This becomes a 10. 10 minus 3 is 7. I can do math. I promise. I promise I can do math. Plug that into your calculator, which I don't have with me, so I'm just gonna follow what the example says. And the example says that our result of the dot product is 1.76. I'm gonna trust that and say, yay, we got that correct. Yay! But I mean, the most important part is not using your calculator. It's setting up the equation that you need to use. So basically, once you get your two vectors, you can take the magnitude or the scalar component, which is 10 and 20, multiply them, then find the angle between the two, so we get that difference, which is 75, plug that into our calculator, and we get our dot product, which is 51.76. Hopefully that made sense. If you can't do math, don't worry, I can't either. Just use a calculator. In the Cartesian coordinate system, scalar products of the unit vector of an axis with the other unit vectors of an axis always vanish because these units are orthogonal. I can't read. Orthogonal to each other. So this seems important. In these equations, we use the fact that the magnitudes of all unit vectors are 1. So you take all the unit vectors are 1. For vectors of axes gives the following identities. Okay. So what can we get from this is Cartesian coordinate system. Call it chord system or chord chord system. The scalar products of a unit vector scalar products of a unit vector. So scalar, I should put the dot. I don't like scalar. I always write it as the dot product. So I'm gonna put dot product. I mean, it is a scalar product, it's just I'm not used to calling it that. Ew! It is very ew. Dot product of a unit vector, so that is sort of what you use to define the direction. So like I hat, j hat, k hat. Dot product of unit vector of an axis with another unit vector of an axis always vanish with another. vanish because orthogonal. So 0, another is equal to 0 because orthogonal, which also means perpendicular. So I'm just gonna write the perpendicular like symbol instead of writing orthogonal. And for this, I will write out the first two. Ugh. I guess I should probably put the parentheses so that people don't get confused. Except my parentheses kind of look like absolute value signs. And then cosine of 90 is 0, so that's where you get the 0 from. Because basically anything orthogonal, and you take a cosine of it, because it's 90 degrees, cosine of 90 is 0, and everything will be 0 when that happens. I'm gonna skip the other one, and I'm just gonna put this just as another example, but just note that it works for all three. Alright, yeah, okay. I see you're taking notes. Good job! For we use the fact that the magnitudes of all vectors are 1. For unit vectors of axes gives us the following identities. So the magnitudes, so these are magnitude value symbols. So the absolute values are the magnitude value symbols. Wait, you spent bits? Thank you for the bits. I didn't even notice. Spending bits to make that big is so worth it. That is such a cute emote, though. I love it. I really need to get my act together for the stuff, but I genuinely thought I fixed it. I redid all my point redeems. I don't understand why these don't work still. So yes, do not use point redeem. They don't work. And I'm excited. I think the emotes are actually gonna come kinda soon. I'm really excited for them to be here. I have commissioned a few of them. So we're gonna start off with just a few and then continue on. Oh, that's not, that should be squared. One. Okay. The scalar product can also be interpreted as either the product of B with the projection A of vector A onto the direction of B, or the product of A with a projection of B with a projection B of vector B onto the direction of vector A. I don't understand this one. I will admit I don't get it. Are you using as your overlay for the actions on Twitch? Actions like redeems or bits or subs. So for that, I'm just using Twitch. Like when you redeem something, I just have Twitch show it to me. My OBS is connected to Twitch alerts and all that. Should I have it attached to something else? The cool glasses one and the brain pudding work through VTube Studio. So my VTube Studio is connected to my Twitch. But I think everything else, so it shows up and it creates a little icon thing, but I don't know why it's the wrong one. If you ever need any suggestions on bots, Twitch, feel free to ask anyway. I'm down the hill. Thank you so much. I probably will. Considering how hard it is for me to do this, I probably will. I personally have never used Twitch built-in stuff. Oh, is that the problem then? It could be Twitch's built-in stuff. For some reason, I can't pin any of my messages, even though I sent them. So maybe it's a Twitch problem? I use Stream Elements and kept showing me how to use Firebot. Okay, maybe I should try using Stream Elements, because I use Stream Elements for my chats. Like, chats over here. This side. Does it work? This way. This way. The chat's on my right. Yeah, I use Stream Elements for that, so maybe I should try using Stream Elements instead. So I don't really understand this whole projection thing. I'll write it down because it seems important. But I don't really get what they're trying to say. So, scalar product. B can be interpreted as product of B with projection A of vector A onto the direction of B. I don't understand that. Onto of B. Okay. Firebot might be easier since you're used to codes and stuff of that nature. Firebot is much easier for redeemed things though. Okay, I see, like your little blueberry jam jar redeems. Alright, I'll look into Firebot then. I'll look into both. I still would wish that I could just all keep it on Twitch. I think that would be more ideal for me, but clearly it's not working. So, it's best to try something else. A, B. And by the way, thank you all for like coming to this stream. I know I don't usually stream on Tuesdays. This stream was actually intended for Monday, but then stuff on Monday happened, so I couldn't do it. But yeah, I do really want to commit to at least streaming once a week, at least for now, and eventually I would love to commit to streaming like 3 times, like a stable 3 times a week. Previously I only did it 2 times a week, but one day that day will come. I just find it so fun. I find it kind of like therapeutic in a way. I find streaming therapeutic. I don't know why. It helps relax. Like, it makes me more happier, relaxed. It reminds me that life isn't so serious all the time. Because I think I'm relatively, like, a serious person. Like, I'm a bit of a doomer often. But when I stream, I'm like, alright, doomer's gone. Doomer's gone. It's just me. For example, in the rectangular coordinate system in a plane, the scalar x component of a vector is its dot product with the unit vector, and the scalar y component of a vector is its dot product with the unit vector j. Okay, that makes sense to me. Because you get the scalar component, and then you take the dot of its unit vector, so you get its magnitude, and then you take its angle the difference of the angle, and then you get that A. It's not Doom, it's realistic. Yeah, sometimes it's a little Doom. Sometimes I'm just pure Doom. But oftentimes I am correct, so you're not wrong. I am quite realistic in a lot of ways. But sometimes it is straight up Doom. I'm like, oh, this is gonna go horrible. It's gonna be horrible. I can't do this anymore. And then it turned out to be okay. Like, nothing bad happens, but like nothing great happens. I have to remind myself that, like, you know, it'll be okay. It'll be okay in the end. It's something I've been working on. I think for stream, it really helps me kind of like disconnect that side of me. Because I would love to be happy all the time. Well, I guess you can't be happy without the sad, but like I would like to be at peace with myself is what I mean to say. We love a good Doom yap. I'm the same way. I'm told I'm very negative, but I'm usually right. Right? That happens. But I think these days, I've been extra Doom. Like, when I went on hiatus, I was super Doom. Like, I was dooming and glooming all day, like, a little too much. I think there's a healthy amount of doom and gloom, but I think sometimes I will go a little overboard with the doom and gloom. I try to remind myself, you know, even if it is doom and gloom, life still goes on, so that's okay. Like, if you saw my community posts when I was on hiatus, like completely on hiatus, I was like, I want to stream, I miss streaming, I want to be back. I was so sad. I was like, I really miss it. Will I ever come back? But well, lo and behold, I'm back. And I think my sort of return stream last time, it did a lot better than I was expecting. So, hey, not all doom and gloom. A lot of other things, though, did end up being doom and gloom, but it's okay. Like, for example, I just sort of fixed something. But I fixed it, but then something else of that broke. So I was like, oh man, I fixed it, but then something else, when I tried fixing it, something else broke, so I was like, that's great. That's great. But then it turns out, in the end, like, fixing it, I learned a lot from it. So I'm trying to be more positive. Like, am I happy about that happening to me? No. I also got, like, the ant invasion thing, and I kind of, you know... chemicalized my entire place. But in the end, you know, the ants are not here right now, for now. Also, I think with the weather change, with it, oh, that's another thing. Fall is coming. I love fall. When fall is here, the ants usually go away. A nice balance of doom and gloom. Tomorrow comes no matter what, probably. I definitely feel that. Tomorrow comes no matter what, probably. Invasion is such a funny term. We eliminated the ants for now. I've done this before. I would eliminate them, they'd come back in like 3 days, and I'd be freaking out again. I'm like, are you kidding me? For now, they're gone. And I hope they stay that way. But in the fall, when the fall and winter come, they usually kind of like go into hiding or whatever. So it's great. Fall is the best. It is the best. I love fall. I'm also in a very doom now because my schedules are a pain. I definitely felt that when I was gone. One of the reasons I also had to like take up extra scheduling because some people had left, so I needed to like cover for them and like kind of take on their responsibilities as well. So schedule is pain. But now I sort of got used to it. We need another karaoke stream. Well, I've been planning certain things. Hehe. I think my next karaoke stream is gonna have a different theme than I normally do. So I've been planning certain stuff. Alright, check our understanding. Vector A in a rectangular coordinate system to show that this is equal to that and that. Okay. I think okay, so we have our vector with our unit components, our unit vector components, so that, and then we have, oh, that's why I'm confused. There should be a comma here, shouldn't there? Like in between the AX. I was like, how's that equal to AY? That makes no sense. This does make sense though. So, I think what they meant to write is the vector of A dot I, that is equal to AX, comma, this is where they're missing. That should be a comma. A dot the unit vector of J, and you get a Y. How exciting! I'm able to use the blue branch badge. Yay! Yes, you can. It's the blueberry branch. I found these like cute sub badges that kind of come in bulk. I'm thinking about buying other ones so I can have them like all desserts. But for now, I have it like that. I think the blueberry jam jars are gonna stay as the channel points. I think that's cute, but it might be semi-permanent. I need to sneeze. Ugh, okay, there we go. But yeah, for the karaoke stream, I'm excited. It's gonna have a theme to it. I can't promise it'll be good, because these are songs I don't normally sing, to be honest. And they're not in the style that I'm more used to singing. But I'm excited to try them out regardless. I can't use my... Oh no, wait, do my badges not work? I should also have badges for people who are like 1 month subs. Ooh, theater. I'm gonna try something different than theater. Usually I do theater, but I want to try something a little different. So, should I say it? I'll give you a little hint. There's a genre of songs that go really fast. I'm gonna sing those songs, but not in the fast version. The speed up, as the young kids call it, but I call it something else. But I'm not gonna I'm not gonna sing it that fast or that high pitched. I'll be singing it normally. But a lot of the songs from that time period of speed up, as the kids call it, but I call it something else. Is what the songs from that time period I'll be singing. Maybe I will try to find instrumentals that are like that, but we'll see. Okay. Compute their scalar as the following. So when the vectors 2.27 are given, their vector component forms that. You can compute their scalar product as follows. Wow, that is super long. But basically what they're doing is they're kind of, it's like distributed property for each component. So you have, this one goes to this one goes to this one goes to that one, and then once again for the third one. It's essentially distributive property. I think I'm gonna write out, like, distributive property when it comes to, like, polynomials. It's the same thing. So we got example 2.12. I'm definitely writing it in the wrong color, but that's okay. I mean, this one will have a lot of colors anyways. The way they wrote it out here is very confusing though. Or, I mean, I guess not really. They wrote out the whole thing, but it just seems like a mess. So I'm gonna write it out a little differently. So we have our two vectors. The I. J. We write it out again. I should actually have more space for that. I think I'm gonna be drawing a lot of arrows. Let's add more space. So we'll have it like over here. It's going to be so cool. I don't know theater, and it's unfortunate. I sort of more recently became a theater fan. By recently, I mean the past like 6 years. I don't really know older musicals. I know more modern musicals. Like the more modern ones I know. The musical that I liked when I was younger, that kind of like pushed me into the rabbit hole of musicals, is Dear Evan Hansen. I had listened to the music and I was like, wow. Just like me, for real, for real. In terms of like his anxiety. I mean, me now, like more matured me, is kind of like, oh, that's interesting. I think the songs are bangers by themselves, but the whole story is a bit interesting. Like sometimes I feel like the story is a bit too, like, I don't know. I have certain thoughts about that musical. But yeah, did you happen to watch Wicked? Like the whole play in person? No. Did I watch the half Wicked of like the movie? Yes, I have. I have seen the movie Wicked. I'm so excited for Wicked for Good. Like I can't wait to hear them sing For Good. And I also like No Good Deed a lot. I think No Good Deed is like, I don't know, I like that song better than Defying Gravity for some reason, but For Good is definitely my favorite song, so I'm excited to hear that. So we have this, and then we have the distributive, so I'm just gonna show it like that and then have it again, so you sort of multiply the two. Ooh, that's not good. Just like the distributive property for polynomial. Like that. Yeah, and then I'm gonna put a different color. We'll have it like this. And then we'll have purple. I guess that's the only color I have left. Ooh. There we are. Purple. And then for that one, I'm gonna write in red, just the first top line, and I'm not gonna write the rest. Oh, I'm gonna write it in blue, actually, because I picked blue. The top line, and then I'm not gonna write the rest. Tinily build. But I've seen your build! I saw you were making Shiz University, and then you moved on to the Emerald City. And I think, were you finished with it? Or were you building that for your what is that called? Your VTuber debut, although it's not really debut. Like when your VTuber surprise, were you still working on Emerald City? Was that the Emerald City or was that Shiz? I get confused. Wicked is so good. The play was great. And the movie. I also got the soundtrack in vinyl. I listen to the soundtrack all the time on my phone. And then I like how the soundtrack on, at least my phone, there's like the pop version of it. So once you're done listening to the actual soundtrack, it takes you to like a popish version of it. And I'm like, huh, interesting. Like in a good way. Anyways, I can't wait to hear them sing For Good in the movie. I'm so excited to see that. A musical that I really want to see, but I haven't, especially since fall is coming up, is Beetlejuice. I've actually never seen Beetlejuice, the movie, like at all. I've heard parts of the soundtrack. I haven't listened to it all, but I think that it'd be fun to watch. And then I go with the red, and I'm not gonna write it out, but I'm just gonna put ... so it's like the same thing. New lecture. No way, new lecture. Good evening, everyone. Yes, we have a new lecture. We're learning about dot products. In this case, we have a scalar. So I will do a review at the end, but yeah. We're multiplying a bunch of vectors together. Scalar products of the vectors. Scalar of the vectors. You have this and that. ... So it's the same thing. Like I said, it's basically a distributive property when it comes to polynomials, but in this case, it's not a polynomial. You have like the ax, and then you have the unit vector, and you just multiply it. Since scalar products of two different unit vectors of axes give 0, the scalar product of unit vectors with themselves give 1. There are only 3 non-zero terms in this expression. Thus, the scalar product simplifies to... Oh, right! Because we have the dot of these, so that becomes 0. So let me write that in. And I realized I didn't put the dot in between. So when it's not the same unit vector, it becomes 0. So this becomes 0. So let me put that. And that becomes 0. And then for this one, we have the AY, BY, and then we have the J... The J hat squared. Or J hat, like dot product of the J hat. So it becomes that. Community watch party. Beetlejuice is perfect for fall. I've been meaning to actually watch... I think Yoshio had mentioned that I should watch Phantom of the Opera. That's another one I didn't watch. That I really should watch. It's Phantom of the Opera. So we have the vector. So this is the more important, I see. So in this section, they're sort of explaining how we get to this sort of product where it simplifies, and how you can, like, it's like a proof, in a way, a proof to show that the dot product of A and B, a scalar dot product, or wait, yeah, the dot product is scalar, sorry. The dot product of A and B is equal to this. And that is the important equation to remember when doing the dot product of the vectors. Is that it results with this. So we got the components. That is a B. Why did I write that? It should be a Z, then a B. Now we can use the equation for the scalar product in terms of scalar components of vectors to find the angle between two vectors. When we divide... I don't know what that equation is. When we divide A and B, we can obtain the equation for cosine phi, right? Phi, into which we substitute the equation of this. Okay, so we have the A and B. Oh, right. Okay, so if we scroll up here to this, go up to this equation. So we have the dot product of A and B. If we divide it by A and B, we can get that cosine phi. So it just all goes back to this equation right here. Does that make sense? I noticed that my notes are like starting to shift to the left. So maybe I shift it back to the right. Beetlejuice is perfect for fall. It is, especially for like the spooky season. Maybe I should. I've never seen that either. I hear so many good things. Kippy using my emote is scaring me. Emote. I like the cat emote. It's cute. Yeah, I'm excited to do karaoke. I'm planning that to be sometime in September. Hopefully. I need to practice some more. I'm trying to learn a song that someone had requested, but that song is in Latin, and it's a bit difficult for me. So I don't know if I'll have that song ready yet, but yeah. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, the hint for the next karaoke theme, so back then, back in my day, people would take songs and speed them up. And they would call it a certain thing that I'm not gonna say. And don't put it in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. I'll be singing those songs, however they will not be sped up, because I can't keep up with that. A song in Latin. Yes! Someone, I guess I can say this one, because someone said it before, but they requested me to sing Ave Maria. I think they didn't say which version, because there's many of them. I'm gonna try to sing the version by Schubert. Or Schubert. I don't know. But I can't really sing in Latin, and the thing is, I used to actually sing songs similar to that, but I don't remember them anymore. And I kind of lost all skill to read that stuff. So, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna do these two examples, and then I think I'm gonna call it. I am, to be honest, very, very tired. And then we'll start with our cross product next time. So that's when you multiply the vectors instead of just multiplying this, or I say multiply, I shouldn't say multiply, when you take the scalar product. So the dot product is scalar, and the cross product is when, like, you have the product of two vectors. Okay, angle between two forces. We have dogs, cute little dogs. Well, actually not, they look kind of angry. Maybe they aren't so cute. Three dogs are pulling on a stick in different directions. The first dog pulls with force of that. The second dog pulls with the force of that. The third dog pulls with the force of that. What is the angle between forces? Okay, so between force 2 and 1. How do I do this? They tell us a strategy. The components of force vector F1 is 10 newtons. Oh, that's the x, right? Okay, so 10 newtons in the x. The y has negative 20.4, and the z has 2 newtons. Whereas those of force vector F are F2 are these things. So we just get them from what we have up here. I wish I could highlight this. But I can't. Computing the scalar product of these vectors and their magnitudes by substituting it in equation. I think the equation just right above us should do. So we can get the magnitudes so that we get F1 and F2. So basically we need to get the A and B of this right here. So to get that equivalent of A and B, we take the magnitude of each, and I should move that up, and I should write down the example number. The dogs became uncute when they got involved in physics. Yeah, it's true. They would have been really cute if they were just merrily on their way, but instead you're pulling a stick with the forces of this much. Okay, so we need the magnitude of F1 and F2. Which means we got 10 squared plus 20. You should put negative 20.4, but because we're squaring it, it doesn't matter. Got 2. And I don't have a calculator with me, so I am just gonna trust the book for that one. Sometimes when I have books like these and I calculate it with myself, I'm like, did I do this wrong? Why is it like this? And it turns out it's just a typo. So we have 15 squared plus 0 squared. I'm not nervous, I promise. I'm not used to writing it like this. Curve more. I know you're making... Yeah, I know you're just using me. So don't worry about it. But it's just, I can't write for some reason. I just can't write. Okay. I just need to know physics to win that stick tug of war with the dogs. Dogs are so strong. Like, they're so cute, but some of them are just, they're like too big. And they're like ridiculously strong. Some of them are like 80 pounds of pure muscle, and they're like so cute, and there's not a thought behind their eyes, and like they don't mean to hurt you. Like, sort of recently, there's this dog I was playing with, and like it would like try to chase you and jump after you. It was really cute, but like it would do that, and then it hurt so much because that dog was like 80 pounds of pure muscle. Like I'm like, oh my. So we have our magnitude, and then we have to find the F1 dot F1 the dot product of F2 2. Are you afraid of any animals? I am actually afraid of quite a few animals. I don't know if you count bugs as animals. I personally don't, but I'm afraid of those. I know most people count them as bugs. Bugs as animals. I don't like them. A few reptiles do scare me. I think... What else scares me? A lot of sea animals scare me. That should be a 2. A lot of sea animals scare me. What else? Like dolphins scare me for some reason. Those things are so aggressive. They're so aggressive at times. Is it -15? It should be -15. Next one should be 0 because there's nothing there, but I'm still gonna write it out. That one, what else scared me? A few reptiles, like I said. All sort of bugs. I don't care if it's a fly. Like, I had to fight a few flies. Like, where I am, the flies are so big, you know? And like, I have this... Alright. This may sound a little cruel, but I really hate flies, and they really scare me. But I have like an electric fly swatter. So the way it works is like, there's like a ground, and like, basically the fly closes the circuit. So it's gotta touch like both the ground net part of it as well as the part that emits like the current. and that's how it kills the fly. So once there's this big fly, so I hit it, and the thing like sparked, and it made it like a sound, and like electrocution sound. So I'm like, okay, it fell on the floor, and everything's gonna be fine. And then I go to like pick it up with like a tissue because I thought it was dead. It was electrocuted. It was on the floor. It wasn't moving, and it just starts moving again. I was like, how did you live that? You literally sparked. How did you live? Your whole body was like electrocuted. Why are you living? I think it was just simply because that fly was just... It was different, and it was very large. The beige dog is mega losing to those brown dogs. Yeah, they're teaming up against that dog. I think the beige dog is bigger, though. Anyways, basically, that story is, so I learned if I electrocute a fly, it's gotta be electrocuted, like really, really electrocuted. It's gotta be there for a couple of minutes, and then I will go pick it up. If you're afraid of sea animals, are you afraid of the ocean in general? I'm not afraid of, Kind of. I wouldn't say the ocean itself. Like, when I go to the beach, or like when I, which is rare, I never go. When I go to the beach, or if I'm like on a body of water, like a lake or something, I definitely don't feel the most comfortable, but I'm not like scared to be around it. I am scared of the animals within it, but yeah. Okay, we have that, which is this. I'm gonna trust the calculation that they give. Don't forget the units, of course. And then you just plug that in. So we have cosine phi is equal to f. F1 dot f2. And then we have the magnitude components, or the scalar components, like this. Then we get some value, just plug it in. So that would be 162. A good way to sort of make sure you're doing the correct calculation is to look at your units. So we have n squared, so I just separated the two. Then we have 2.28n times 16.2n. And then they cross each other out, so that's good. Sadly, a long time ago, I had the chance to see real capybaras. I was afraid they'd bite like giant rabbits, instead trying to pet them. You know, that's fair though. Capybaras are pretty big. I mean, they don't really move too much, but I think that's valid. Like, I would be a little bit worried too. I think capybaras are really cute to look at, but do they have, no, they don't have big teeth. Do they have big teeth? I think they do have big teeth. But I would definitely be scared, a little scared of a capybara. If it's like, depends how it acts around other people. If it's like a more calmer capybara, like if that thing runs at you, I would be scared of. I don't think capybaras run much, but if a capybara were to run at me at like full speed, I think I would be scared. If you have an electric fly swatter, you must hate, but I do. I hate bugs. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them so much. Like, you have all of outside. I cannot survive outside, but you can. Like, excuse me, you don't pay rent. Get out. You don't belong here. I still just don't like how they make me feel when they're around me. They make this noise and it's just like, ugh, ugh, ugh. I hate bugs. I hate bugs so much. I know it's a bit cruel to like electrocute them, but I mean, if you're gonna kill them, anyway, I guess it's fine. It's a fly, you know. The fly doesn't need to be there. All right, in our last example. Work of a force. Maybe your fancy schmancy EC degree soon. You can design a better electric fly swatter. So here's the thing. I'm scared that if I make another one with higher current, which is what's gonna kill the fly, I might drop it on myself and then accidentally, you know, electrocute me. So I don't want to do that. I guess the winner depends what is the reference point, because I can't tell how it's rotating beige or one of the brown dogs. That's true. We can't see how it's moving. I think they're cute though. I'm voting for the beige dog because the beige dog looks cuter. Well, also I can't see its face. Maybe it's uglier. I think they look so angry. Hold on. They look so mad. And I'm like kind of scared of them. Okay, last example for today. And then I'll do the vector product of two vectors next time. And then we'll be done with chapter 1. I know it's been like a year. But that'll be chapter 1, and then we get to move on to cool stuff. Like, I think like forces, like velocity. And acceleration and motion and what else? Displacement. We learned about displacement. velocity, acceleration, all that cool stuff. So now I feel like we're gonna get into the real physics. You know? But yeah, I'm excited for that. There are a bunch of problems here. I don't know if anyone wants to do them. But I actually think this book is pretty good, and it's like open source. OpenStax has a lot of good stuff if you want to learn anything. Oftentimes they don't go too in-depth into it, so you won't be a master at it. But they have a lot of good info here. Like, not just here, they're like other subjects as well. So if you want to be a little bit nerd, you want to spend time learning things. What if you assign homework? I'm not gonna assign homework. This is it's like university, you know, you kind of just do whatever. Homework is like nothing. And also I just don't, I don't stream this enough. Okay, the other example. I'm gonna make the other example purple. Our last example for today. The work of a force. Okay, when the force F pulls on an object, and when it causes displacement D, we say the force performs work. The amount of work the force does is the scalar product of F and D. Okay, so we know that. So something pulls on an object, and it causes displacement. The amount of force, essentially, that is pulling on it is the scalar product, right? Does that make sense? F pulls on an object, and when it causes displacement, we say the force performs work. Okay, I see what they mean. So the work is the displacement, and to do that work, aka move D, that means there needs to be force. So yeah. My homework mattered so much. Oh, really? For me, where I went, homework didn't matter at all. They were just like, all right, we got these giant tests. Good luck. We have 2 midterms, and like, we have like 2 to 3 midterms, and this is how we're gonna test you. Every 3 weeks we have a test. We have a quiz then, and that's how we're gonna check if you know what you're doing. Like, homework was like 2% of your grade. You could have not done it at all, and like, it wouldn't have mattered. Or you could have just done half of it. It was kind of like nothing. However, the homework was good because it helped me practice a lot for the quizzes and tests. So it mattered in the sense that, like, yes, you were supposed to do it. You had to do it if you wanted to do well. You didn't have to do it if you want to do well. Some people are just smart and like don't need to do that stuff. But you really didn't need to do it for your grade. I did it anyways because I am not smart like that. I can't just be able to come up with things. I have to practice it a lot in order for me to remember it. The stick moves momentarily and gets displaced by that. How much work is done by the third dog? Okay, so we're still looking at the dogs. And I'm assuming the third dog is the beige one. And this is how much work or how much force that they did to do work. And moves momentarily, gets displaced by that. Is that the same? Oh no, they're different. Okay. Oh, I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to make us do a dot product of F3 and D, right? We compute the scalar product of displacement vector D with vector force, which is pulled from the third dog. Then we use W3 to denote the work done by force 3. Ah, yes, okay, I get it. Gotta go to bed now. Bye, Blue. Have a great night. Bye. Thank you for stopping by. I always love your emotes. They're so cute. And thank you for the bits again. I will work hard into trying to be able to fix my point redeems. I do not understand why they don't work, but they don't work. What if I try this? Redeem myself. Yeah, it doesn't work. It's supposed to have a cute hello noise or hi noise. But bye, and thank you for stopping by. It was nice talking about musicals. I haven't had anyone to talk about musicals with. Posture check. Oh, you're right. I should check my posture. I was slouching quite a bit. Feel free to ask anything on bots. Okay, bye. Thank you. All right, for the next one, for the last part, we have Force 3. So they give it to us as that. And we kind of just do the same thing where we take this. Oops. We take this equation over here. Can you see my cursor? Yes, you can. We take this equation and just plug it in. Wait, what happened to my pen? Here it is. And then they tell us that our displacement of that is this. So we have a force and the displacement, and we're trying to find the work. And that can give us I mean, that's the dot product. So we have that as well. And we have this in centimeters. So we have force, we have a displacement, and the dot product can find what they define as work, as in like moving this. Okay. Work 3. We have F3 dot D, which means we will take 5 times 0, because there is no unit vector of I, plus 12.5 times negative 7.9, and then another 0, because we have no unit vector of k, 4.2, and calculate that, plug it into a calculator. I should really get my calculator set up. And then we have our units, of course, because we have newtons, which is this one, times centimeters, which is that one. So yeah, we got our work. And they said, like, there's a significance. The SI unit of work is called a joule. Oh yes, a joule, energy, joule, where 1 joule is equal to 1 Newton meter. The unit centimeter times Newton can be written as joule. So the answer can be expressed as that joules. I see. All right, well, I guess we'll stop here for today. I had fun learning about product of vectors. In this case, we had the dot product, which is also known as the scalar product. A scalar product has a scalar quantity, so it results in a single number. So that's one thing to note. Everything else is very similar to the other ones. To get the cross product of 2 vectors, or the scalar of 2 vectors. Engineers are addicted to their joules. Joules, we're rich! That's a pretty good pun. I didn't even think of that. We are addicted to their joules. Wrong joules. That's insane. I'm rich in energy, you know? Rich in work and rich in energy. Anyways, let me go over this again. So we have a dot product, which is, in this case, a scalar product, which results in a scalar quantity. It is a dot b, which is the scalar component of a, scalar component of b, times cosine of phi, which is the angle between the vectors. If it is parallel, in this case, stop adding notes. If it's parallel, where the a and b are parallel to each other and go in the same direction, you have 0 because, zero degrees in between, which is 1, which equals 1, cosine of 0 is equal to 1. So you have a and b. They're going in opposite directions. That means they're 180 from each other. So then you have negative a and b. And if they're orthogonal or perpendicular, you have a and b times cosine of 90. Cosine of 90 is 1. Or sorry, cosine of 90 is 0. Ah, I keep getting this mixed up. And then we get 0. If we want to multiply or have a dot product of the same vector, that just means that it's just the scalar times itself, so scalar squared. For example, we found the difference between the two vectors, just like we need here. We have the two magnitude values, which is times that. And yeah, Cartesian coordinates. So for this one, the dot product of a unit vector with another is 0. So if we take the dot product of something that isn't I together, so ij or ik, or yeah, ij or ik, that will equal 0. If it's I times I, you just get I squared. Hello, Vinberry. Hello, hello. Literally, what am I doing right now? I don't know either. I don't know what I'm doing right now. Hello, hello. It's nice to see you drop by again. I am doing the review for the end because I'm a bit tired. But hopefully you can see the review. And then there's always the VOD. It will always be there. The scalar product of a dot b can be interpreted as... I still don't understand what it means by projection of something onto another vector, but sure, I'll accept that. Then we have the magnitude of a and the magnitude of I. Then we take that and we can get ax, so we get the scalar value. Is that correct? Or the x component of the a. Then we can get the y component of the a as well if you do it for other ones. And then to get the z component, if it has three components, you just do a dot k. Same thing like the other ones. Although I think this is for Cartesian, right? So it's only x and y. Is it? I don't know. Yeah, well, anyways, it is commutative, so that means you can switch the dot products around. It is also like distributive in a way. It is just like a polynomial where you can take a, multiply that by b, and take a and multiply that c, and you get this. So a dot b plus a dot c. So the vector of a dotted with its unit vector, you can get the component of it. Yeah. So ax. So a dot unit vector of I is equal to ax, and then same thing with the rest. So j corresponds to y and k corresponds to z. Next, we have an example where they showed us how to take the dot product of two vectors with all the components, and then similarly, just like this one, it can sort of do like the distributive property. So you can take the components and then multiply it with each other. Here I showed it with the first one, the first row, so I have ax times bx, and then we've got I hat squared. Then we have the same thing, but we have j hat times I hat, and then so forth, and you can do it for all the rest. That one vector projects onto another. Imagine the projection being the shadow that one vector projects onto another. I kind of see what you mean by that, but I still don't really understand it. But I don't think I need to. At least not now. I get what you mean by when you say it like projects onto another, like the shadow projects onto another and it creates this other vector. But still. Hello, fellow STEM Vtuber. Hello, hello. Are you also a physicist? Well, I guess I'm not really a physicist. I'm a failed engineer who happened to learn about physics. What uses does vector projection have? So in this case, it's talking about the scalar product. It defines like for the example, the last example that we just went over, it tells you about the work. So it relates work with displacement and force. if that makes sense. I'm confused how it can be used in real life. There's a lot of physics things that don't necessarily, well, not, at least not me, I don't use in real life, but it's sort of like a relationship to each other, if that makes sense. So one thing can be used to describe another thing, and then that can be used to describe itself, or like, it's kind of, how do I explain this? It's used to describe the relationship of displacement and force, and that's defined by work, I guess. Does that sound right? So when there's a force that moves something, yeah, I guess it can define, like, it describes the relationship between three important components that can be used to describe movement or something in real life. I don't work on forces in real life, so I don't use them. But I'm sure that someone who, let's say, works on a car and wants to define how fast this thing is moving at this, well, like the force, let's say like collisions, the force of something and how much it displaces the other thing. So someone who maybe like works in safety and does like car collisions, like testing car collisions, they could define the force that it uses to push an object to something else. And then they define that as work. Yeah, and like energy, like work and energy. So like in this case, we have work and joules, which kind of defines like the energy of it. So let's just say we got two cars, someone's working on like car collisions and stuff. So we have one car, then the other car has a force. It displaces that car, and we can relate that displacement and force with the work and energy. I guess. Does that make sense? That's how I see it, at least. Once again, I'm a failed engineer for a reason. Take everything with a grain of salt. Sounds like this could be used to determine the speed of stars and galaxies moving away from each other. It probably is. It probably is used to define that. It probably is used to define whatever we send up into space as well. Or at least sort of relate how far something moves. And moves with the different forces in space. But yeah, basically we have two vectors. This can be used to have the relationship of work between two forces, or a force and a displacement. And then we have this, so if we want to find that angle between the two vectors and where it's going, we can use this equation, which is the dot product of the vectors as well as their like scalar component, or the magnitude. Sorry, I keep saying scalar components when I should really be saying magnitude sometimes. The magnitude, and then you can inverse cosine that to find the angle between that. So we find the magnitude, we get the two forces, in this case the dog. So we have the magnitude of, like, let's say two forces are pulling against each other, or pulling with each other. Pulling against each other, you can get that magnitude, and you say, I want to figure out what is the angle between the two forces, and then we can just sort of back calculate that using that cosine value. And then for the next one, we can get that work by doing the dot product of it and getting this. But yeah, that's the best as I can explain it right now. And I see I can explain the calculus. Calculus! I actually liked calculus back then. I don't anymore. I don't know how to do calculus anymore, really. It's been so long. But yeah, that is how... That is the product of vectors, of scalar vectors, specifically. We will continue with cross products, which are really fun. Kind of tedious, but I think cross products are fun. Oh, they teach it like this. Okay, maybe I'll look into how to do cross products again and teach it a different way. I kind of don't really like how they taught this as well. At least the book. I just think it's just so much easier way to sort of visualize it if I just draw the arrows. They're not wrong though. They're probably more correct than I'll ever be, cause I'm not a professional. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. I will find someone to raid on Twitch, and I'm determined to fix what's wrong with my point redeems because I don't understand. Lots of calc is just physics without outside forces like drag and gravity. No friction either. Remember, it always has to be a frictionless surface. You can fix it. I will fix it. I'm Bob the Builder. Alright, sorry. When you say, like, I can fix it, I just think of Bob the Builder. Thank you for the stream and thank you for coming. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to me as well. I'm actually, like, really, really tired. And I hope, like, no ads were running in between. I know I had that issue previously on Twitch. I turned it off, though. Yeah. Let's find a channel to raid. Let's see who's on. Thank you for the stream. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Let's see. Bow. I'm gonna raid Swimmy Link. They're playing Repo with other VTubers. I think that'd be fun to raid into. Go give them a warm welcome. And say hello to them. If you would like to, of course. If you can't raid and follow, absolutely no worries. My raid message bot broke too, so I need to fix that. But here's my raid message. I'm just gonna type it in manually. Wow, one of them is an emoji, one of them isn't. Okay, it's supposed to be the one without an emoji. Hold on. No, stop turning into an emoji. If you need help, keep an eye here to help seriously. I know, I will probably ask. That's my raid message for now. I will fix the bots. Anyways. I'll be raiding in just a bit. So let me switch over to my ending screen. In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beep boop. Bye everyone. Bye bye.